What's up, guys? It's Meg, and it's that time of the week again where we get to talk about the best show on television, AMC's The Walking Dead. Today we are talking about Season 4, Episode 9, called After. Do you guys know how long I have waited to say that phrase? I am so completely excited to talk to you today about Episode 9. What did you guys think of it? You have to tell me all of the comments down below. I've read some of your guys' comments on my reaction videos, but I know there are more of you out there that have not yet told me what you thought about the show. So please write me in the comments and let me know what you thought about it. What was your favorite part? It followed the comics so well. I was not disappointed at all. And I'm sure all of you fans out there who don't read the comics still loved it. It was such an amazing episode. Now, I would have liked to see a little more action and, of course, all of our characters. But it's okay. It did not disappoint me at all. And I think next week we'll get to see everyone else. So, I have so much to talk about today. Let's get started. Okay, so the very first thing I have to say, and just get this out of the way, is to all of you people out there who were so convinced that the governor was still alive, that we didn't actually see Lily shoot him, and you guys were posting everywhere on comments on the forums and comments on other people's videos, not really my videos. Most of my viewers, I don't think anybody's really mentioned that they thought the governor was still alive. But man, I saw some mean people out there that were commenting like, "You're stupid, the governor's still alive." Wow, I just feel a little bit of justice that we actually saw him dead. He has a bullet hole in his head and he is not coming back. He's finished. So sorry if that offended any of you, if any of you actually believed the governor was coming back. I knew he wasn't. I knew it. And there were so many people out there that thought there was some conspiracy going on. And I think as Walking Dead fans, a lot of times we tend to read into things really hard, or some things just don't need to be read into. Like, he's dead, he was shot, we didn't have to see it, we know. And a lot of times we look for clues and hints in anything, and because we want a certain thing to be true, so we look for any hint that will lead us to that path when that isn't really what's happening in the show. So I felt a little bit of justice seeing that the governor was actually dead and we don't get to see him anymore. I was so ready to be done with him, and I'm excited to see where the rest of the season goes without having that enemy out there. Okay, so to get started, we had Michonne and Rick and Carl in this episode, and Herschel's head, and we didn't see any of our other characters, which always makes me a little bit sad. Of course, I want to see everyone right away and know that everyone's okay. I really want to see Judith, but we've been prepared for this. We've been prepared for a long time that we knew that this episode was only going to have Rick and Carl and Michonne. So let's just get right into it. The episode opens up with Michonne back at the prison. It looks like she had gone into the woods and come back out. She was not right where she was when we left her at the end of episode 8. So I'm guessing maybe she went back into the woods until everything calmed down and then came back out. She's on a mission. She goes and she gets herself 2 new walker pets who happen to be the governor's men, and she then goes and finds Herschel's head. I saw a spoiler for this before it happened. Apparently Xbox owners were able to see the episode ahead of time, which is really unfortunate. And so a picture of Herschel's head got out ahead of time, and I saw it. I was really upset because that's something I wanted to see on screen for the first time. It made me really sad though, seeing it on the television, even after seeing the picture. Herschel's death was one of the only character deaths in any TV show, movie, book, any fictional death that has really, I'm not making sense now. Herschel's death has affected me the most out of any other character death in any TV show I've ever watched, in any book I've ever read, in any movie I've watched. His death has really affected me, I guess. You know, I was really, really sad over it, and I haven't ever really been that sad over a death like that, you know, on a TV show. Who knew we could be so attached to our characters? But seeing his head like that was just, it was awful. I didn't want to see it. We knew it had to be done. I just wish it could have been done without us actually seeing it. Maybe the back of his head. I don't know. It wouldn't have been so bad seeing him turn into a walker. The thing about the governor that just really pisses me off, I was thinking about this the other day, is that he never killed people all the way. With Merle, Milton, Andrea, who else? Martinez. He didn't make sure Martinez was dead before he fed him to the walkers. And the guy, I don't remember his name, but the other leader of Martinez's camp, who he placed at the bottom of the lake while he was still alive as a walker, he just gets a kick out of it. I feel like he never kills people all the way, and it really bothers me. Like, what kind of sadistic person are you? I mean, it just, I'm so glad he's dead, you guys. Okay, done with Herschel. Let's talk about, so we'll talk about Michonne first, since we kept, in the episode, we keep going back and forth between Michonne and Rick and Carl. So we'll talk about Michonne first. So after Michonne leaves the prison, we see her walking through the woods, and she comes across Rick and Carl's footsteps, and footprints, I guess, and she makes a conscious decision not to follow them, not to track them, and she goes the other way into the woods. And I didn't quite catch that that's what she was doing at first. I thought maybe she was going a roundabout way, but she did. She made a conscious decision not to go after them, and we see her throughout the episode walking through the woods with lots of walkers surrounding her, and they're not attacking her or anything. She's kind of just walking with them like she's one of them. We know she has a lot of feelings over losing everyone at the prison, and she always seems to lose people that she gets close to. We get to see a flashback for her. It was more of a dream. It's not necessarily a flashback. I didn't realize it was a dream until I saw her put her sword in the knife holder, and then I realized. It was very interesting because we see her in her home with her baby and two men, one of them being her lover, her boyfriend, the father of her child, and the other one being maybe his brother or a friend, something like, or her brother. Either way, we see them very happy, and then the dream slowly digresses and gets worse until she realizes she's in a nightmare and screams and wakes herself up. Now, throughout the show, there's another point where she comes to the barbecue shack and we see her talking to Mike. And she says a couple things that are really interesting. I wrote them down here. Oh, of course I can't find them. She says, back at the camp, that wasn't you who did it. You were wrong. I'm still here. You could be too, and he could be. I know the answer. I know why. She doesn't say it all close together like that, but those are the things that she says. Now, I had forgotten about this, but when I went on the Spoil the Dead forums, someone brought up a good point that back when she was with Andrea, and Andrea asked her about the walkers, she said that they were monsters, didn't she? I have to go back and watch it, but I'm fairly certain she told Andrea that they were monsters, like the worst kind of people. So I'm really curious to know what happened between the happiness that they were experiencing in their home to them eventually becoming her pets. They turned into walkers. Her baby's gone. We don't know what happened to him. And they eventually become her pets. So there's more story there. It's not just that they all died, you know, and she made them walkers because she wasn't ready to let go of them yet. Like, something else happened, and I really hope they don't just leave it at that they go and explain it more. I don't know if they will, but hopefully they do. Hopefully we see more of that backstory. So throughout the show, it keeps flashing back and forth, but again, we see her in the woods surrounded by a bunch of walkers, and she comes across one that looks like her. She has the dreadlocks, and it's just, it looks like her, and she sees it at first, and then she keeps moving, and eventually she makes this decision throughout the day that she doesn't want to give up. She's not ready to give up yet, and she kills all of the walkers around her, which was quite a few. It was a pretty intense scene, and she's very, very emotional, and she sees herself in that walker that looks like her, and she suddenly realizes that she doesn't want to become like that, and she will if she doesn't find people, if she doesn't find her people and see who's alive and go back and find Rick and Carl. She can't live like this on her own and survive emotionally and physically. So she makes this decision, and she kills all the walkers, and she goes after Rick and Carl. She goes back to where the footprints were, and she tracks them. And it made me so happy that the episode ended with her finding them. It was so important that some of our characters find each other soon. You know, Rick and Carl have each other, that's great, but they don't know if anyone else survived, and it was so exciting to see them meet up at the end of the episode, and just to see the happiness in Michonne's face that she actually found someone, and it was worth it. It was worth leaving the path that she was on and going and attempting to find them and not finding just her friends dead. So yeah, what did you guys think of Michonne? Did you like the character development? If you guys caught anything else, or if you have any comments on what happened with her lover and her baby, if you have any thoughts on that, leave me comments down below, because I'm really interested. If you guys remember more of what she said in season 3, that would be helpful too. So next we get to talk about Rick and Carl. We see a really different dynamic between them. Now, some of you may already know this. I am not a big fan of Carl. I never really have been. I don't really like him that much, but I did actually like him by the end of this episode, surprisingly. So I'll tell you why I ended up liking him. The episode starts out with Rick and Carl, and they are just kind of at each other's throats. Carl is hating his dad right now. He's just disgusted and he's pissed off. And his dad Rick is hurt. He's physically hurt. He's emotionally upset because not only did he lose everyone in the prison, but he just lost Judith. And they're both very upset at their losses, at losing the prison, at losing their friends, family. But they're both dealing with it in completely different ways. Carl is angry. He's disgusted with his dad. He thinks his dad is weak and makes bad decisions. Like, we can just tell. We can feel it. And I thought, you know, I've never really been too fond of Chandler Riggs' acting. I've never thought he was great, you know, but I've never thought he was horrible, but I've never really thought he was an awesome actor. And this episode was really good. He did some really good acting. He really made me hate him, which is good, you know, that's good acting on his part. And Rick, he wants to maintain that control over his son. Carl is his only family left. He's lost Judith, he's lost Lori. He has to protect Carl. And he's trying to assert control over Carl. Slow down, you know, don't go in there, don't shoot. You know, he's telling him not to do all of these different things. When he knows, in reality, we all know Carl is capable of helping his dad out, of taking down walkers. But his dad is so scared of losing him, he's trying to protect him and treat him like a little kid again, which we all know Carl's, while he's still young, he's not a kid anymore. He's seen too much, he's been through too much to still be a kid. So there's this really good dynamic. The whole episode of they're just at each other's throats, and then Rick passes out, and all of this is straight from the comics. It was such a good episode in relation to the comics because they did it so well, you know. They maybe deviated in a few places, but it was so well done, and I was so proud of it. The scene at the end where, well, there was a couple Walker scenes with Carl where they were really intense. I knew he wasn't going to get eaten, but they were really intense scenes, you know. He's acting all cocky, drawing the walkers away from the house, and then he gets himself into a big mess. Walkers are on top of him. He barely makes it out alive. And it makes him even more cocky because he's like, ha, I just fought off 3 walkers. I'm awesome. And then he goes and he realizes that his dad is, you know, not waking up. Or I guess maybe he already realized that. Yeah, he had already realized that his dad wasn't waking up. And he goes back to the house and he just lets his dad have it. And of course, you know, Rick is asleep and passed out and he doesn't hear any of it. But I do think it was good for Carl to get all of that off of his chest. He had been holding in a lot of emotion and a lot of, you know, I wouldn't necessarily say hatred, but I think in that moment he probably felt hatred towards his dad for not protecting everyone. And making all these decisions that he thought were poor decisions. Oh no, I lost my train of thought. So he goes back and he lets his dad have it, and then he goes out again scavenging, and he gets himself into another walker attack, and he barely makes it out. That scene was more intense than the other scene because I wasn't expecting him to get into trouble so quickly. And I think it kind of knocks him off his pedestal a little bit. He goes back home and, you know, yeah, he made it out alive, but he's not quite as cocky as he was before. He eats a bunch of pudding, which pudding in the apocalypse is probably amazing. He ate the whole can. It was pretty funny. And he goes back and we see the scene where we think Rick has become a walker. And I'm really interested to hear from those of you who have not read the comics before seeing this episode on the show. What did you guys think? Did you actually think Rick had become a walker? How did you feel? Because I've read the comics, so I knew that he wasn't going to become a walker, so I didn't get that didn't get all of those emotions that you would feel when you think your favorite character has died. So I'm really interested to know what you guys thought. I think it was so well acted. I loved that it was dark and you couldn't really see Rick. And Carl, you know, Carl couldn't really see Rick's face, and he just hears the noises that sound like a walker. And, you know, his dad rolls off the couch and then grabs his leg, and he's so scared, but he realizes in that moment that he doesn't want to live without his dad. He thinks he has just lost the last person in his life, and he is truly alone, and it just breaks him. It really does. It was so emotional to just see him like that and see him suddenly realize, like, he can't live by himself. He cannot survive on his own. He doesn't want to, and he lets himself. He also can't shoot his dad. He doesn't have the energy to shoot his dad, and he's just gonna let himself be eaten. And then he realized, you know, he hears his dad's voice, and it was so great. But I'm really interested to hear what you guys thought. For those of you who hadn't read the comics before watching it, let me know what you guys thought. So after Rick wakes back up, we see that the whole dynamic between the two of them has completely changed. They are pretty much back to the point where they were when Rick was the farmer, and they had that good relationship. And I was so happy to see that at the end of the episode. I was so happy to not hate Carl anymore. I want to like him. He redeemed himself, I think, to me, in my eyes, when he thought his dad was dead, and that's what it took to make him realize that, you know, I think we all make poor decisions sometimes, but his dad was doing the best that he could. And his dad explained that he wanted to stay there, you know, for him and for Judith, and he was upset over Judith being gone, and Carl said, you know, he apologized, and Carl said, you don't have to apologize. And it was so sweet, and it made me so happy. And then they hear the knock on the door, and Michonne's out there, and it's just such a happy moment, and I was so thrilled for it. What did you guys, tell me what you guys thought about the episode. I think that's it. I feel like I've talked so fast that I have missed probably 10 things, and I'll edit this, and I'll watch it, and I'll realize that there were like 10 other things I didn't get to talk to you guys about. Maybe I'll do a follow-up video if I realize that I've forgotten a bunch. But all in all, I think it was a really great video, or really great episode, and I'm so looking forward to the next one. I am hooked again. They did so well. Alright, you guys, that's it for today. If this is the first video you guys have ever watched of me, tune in next week on, I'm going to try and be a little bit better this time, you guys. I was sick yesterday and today, and I was trying to get this video up earlier today, Tuesday, and instead I was going to film it yesterday and put it up this morning, and I've been so out of it. But hopefully I'll be a little bit more on it. So you can expect a Monday reactions. It's proving a little bit difficult to post a huge reaction video of just me reacting to the whole episode. So I think from now on I'm going to post just little clips of my best reactions from watching the show. Things that I reacted to the most or that really got to me, like Herschel's head, something like that. So just a couple clips. And then on Tuesday I'll be posting my normal review of what I thought about the episode. So if you are new to my channel, please subscribe so that you get updates when I post new videos. And if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. And I'm stumbling over all my words today. I hope you have a great week, you guys. I'll see you next week. Bye.